Welcome back. I had a 2003 Chevy Impala here. Has a problem with the cruise control turn signal switch. High beams don't work all the time, and it's not a electrical problem. You can actually feel the switch is damaged. It's got a mechanical issue. So we're gonna take it out and replace it with a new one today. Okay, so we need to get this cover off the steering column. We're gonna start. There's a black piece of plastic clip underneath the dash, and there's just two tabs on either side of it. Just push those tabs in, and that clips. There's two little clips under here. We've got to take this off to get at it. There's two Phillips head screws underneath the dash here. This bottom piece that you have to undo. There's one. Hopefully you can see this. I can't really see, but there's the other. Drop them right down here. So then this, you should be able to just come right straight back here. Don't pull it down. Pull it kind of straight towards the back of the car as much as you can. Like that. And just unhook the connector here. Underneath the column here, there's at least two screws. They're T25 Torx head. One here. There may be one here. Mine from this corner is gone. I have a feeling somebody might have been in here before I had the car. But remove that T25 Torx. Then you can kind of separate the bottom half of this column, the plastic. You have to remove the tilt lever. This tilt lever, it just pulls out. It's easy to do if you get a screwdriver or a little hook behind it. I'll just put a hook behind it and just give it a good pull, and it pulls out of there. I'll show you this. Let's see if I can show it to you. It just has two little clips on the end of it, two little tabs. So it'll just pull out of there. You need to get it out of there. All right. Put that aside. And you should be able to just separate this bottom half here. There's some tabs, plastic, just be a little careful with it. Let's see if I can get this loose here. Should be able to. There it is. It's kind of hinged. And the side is towards the front. Let's see if I can wiggle that out of there. There it goes. Tip it down like that. Push it towards the front, and it should disengage. And it did. See these little hooks? There's two little hooks. I'll show you them. You have to actually push it towards the front of the car, and then push it down a little bit, and it'll come out of there. I'll show you. There's a little hooks, and those hooks. Well, so this is the direction the front of the car. So you've got to push it towards the front and kind of tip it down, pull it down a little bit, and then you can unhook it. That's the bottom half. There are two inverted Torx bolts, and you see where I'm pointing you right up in here, right in the corner, one on either side, that hold this top cover on. So you've got to take those inverted. Yeah, that's real good English. Inverted Torx. And I'll tell you what size they are as soon as I get mine and figure out what they are. Okay, now I believe I'm going to take this off of here now. Tilt my wheel down. Going to get it out of the way. You do want to tilt your wheel down, and then it comes right out. So now this is what I need to get to, this switch right here. So I'm going to go disconnect this battery before I do that. I don't like to mess, like I said before, I don't want to mess, especially in the column, around an airbag with it has power to it. Alright, I've got my new switch here. So you can kind of see here. I'm just going to kind of match it up to the existing one to find out what exactly where all my bolts are that I have to undo. So, let's see. What do I got? That's not right. Gotta go this way. I've got one up top. I've got this one here. This one right down in here, which is really tight. So I'm probably going to have to do this with a bit and then a wrench to actually unscrew that. But I got to get down my harness here, disconnect this harness, 2 connectors, 3 connectors actually, it looks like. So I'm going to do that first, fish them out and get them disconnected before I go unbolting it. You're not going to be able to see this, but I've got to go under and undo those connectors. And then I'll come back once I get them undone. So what I've found is there are 3 clips or 3 connectors on this harness for the switch, which you have to undo. And 2 of them I was able to get. One is way up above the column. I'm just trying to see if I can see that actual connector anywhere up in here, and it is just buried up in here. I'm trying to follow the wire with my hand just by feel to see where it is, and I think I may see it over here. Yeah, there it is. Now, can I get my hand to that? So the actual connector, this one smaller connector in the harness for this switch, goes up over the column and plugs in on the passenger side of the column. I can barely see it, but I can kind of feel it with my hand, and everything is right in the way. It's hard to even see it. It's just buried in here. You know, I'm thinking that once you do one of these in this particular car, then you know exactly how it fits in there. Probably not too bad. Trying to figure it out initially. Not a lot of fun. Alright, I'll be back. I'm going to fight with this. See if I can figure it out. Okay. I was able to unclip that. Wow. I don't know. I'm going to try to show you that. I'm actually going to try to show you that up in there, just so you know where it is. It's, I don't know if it'll come out or not, but we'll try. Right up through that hole. This is on the passenger side of the column. You see a little bit of, boy, it's even hard to, it's hard to tell. This is ridiculous. I'm trying to show you where this is. I don't know if I can, I think you can see my, right there. There it is. I don't even know if that's focusing for you, but it's on the side of the column. The clip, you have to push that clip right here, push it in, and then move the connector towards the front of the car and unclip it. That's that little connector. Wow, that was fun. Should be able to pull this up now, I think. So there you go. This is the connector that's just, boy, that thing is brutal. Trying to get to that. So now I should be able to undo this. I said there's one Torx bolt right here, Torx head bolt. I think it's a Torx head, it looks like it. And you don't have a lot of room in here to get at that. But I think what I'm going to have to do is probably put Torx head, let me see what size I think it is, and I'll guess wrong and then we'll get the right one. I'm trying to hold this and turn it with the wrench to break it loose here. And it's doable. It did break loose, but it's not going to be a lot of fun, I can tell you that. You don't have a lot of room. Oh, boy, they make stuff. Sometimes you wonder what they were thinking when they put stuff together. They do it purposely. It's almost like they do it purposely to make it hard. Alright, so I was able to get in here and get this bolt out. And I just took the Torx bit, the T25, I'll show it to you here. Not that you need to see a T25, but what I did was put that actually in and then used a 1/4 inch wrench to turn the bit, because you have just enough room to get this bit in there. You can't put a ratchet or anything else on it. And then once I got it loose, I could just spin it out by hand. It's not too bad, it's just tight. So it's out. So I have one on top that I've got to do. That is it. 2 bolts. And there's the switch. And like I said, this one is mechanically it's broken. You can actually feel it. You can feel it when you try to use the high beams. We've got the new one here. And this ought to be fun. Trying to fish this back up inside. Probably be about as hard as getting it out of there. I'll do that. Just want to check it against the one I have. And it does look, everything looks the same. That's good. Everything looks good on it. Should be the same. Ordered it. It's always good to check before you throwing it back in there. So I'm going to try to fish this above the column back before I actually hook this up, because I might need to get my hand down in there and make it a little easier without this in the way. Alright, so I've weaseled that one connector up over the column to the other side, plugged it in. Can't really, I wish I could show it to you, but it's hard for me to even see what I'm doing. You're doing a lot of it by feel. It's not difficult to do, it's just difficult to get at. So I'm going to bolt this new one, put the 2 bolts back in here, and then I'm going to connect the other 2 connectors from the harness and plug them back in. Get my light back here so you can see something. Might help you. I'll move the camera here and I'll see if I can get a close-up of this one bolt, if I can do it. That's right in here. Right in there. See if I can move you in even closer. Oh yeah, that's not bad actually. See if we can get you right in on it. Right in there. That's where you gotta get. So you see, you don't have a lot of room here. You have just enough room to get this bolt in and get a bit on it. But you don't have much room other than that. So I've got the bolt sitting there. And get my find my Torx bit, which is down here somewhere. Where it is? I put it down somewhere. That was a mistake. Oh, sitting on it. Alright, so you can see you have just enough room kind of to get that in there and get it started. And then you've got to line it up and just work it in there. And I can't even get, you got to start it by hand, because at least the bit that I have, which is not particularly long or anything, I can't even get it in there and get it started. So I got to start this by hand. Kind of turn it a little bit, get it going. I think I don't have it lined up yet. Get the bit in there. Yeah, not easy to get to. I don't think there's really a trick to this either. I think it's just tight. It's just hard to get at it. You gotta line it up and get it in there. I don't want to cross thread this. It's just going into aluminum here. I want to make sure we get it right. So you can see I'm right up against the steering wheel at this point. I just turn it in by this wrench. Get it started. Really not a lot of room. But it's going in. Just takes a little bit. That's it. It's bolted back in. So now I'm going to go back underneath the dash here, hook my 2 remaining connectors, put them back together, and then I'll hook the battery back up. Nothing really to see there. When I do that, I will then come back in before I put the cover back in place. Whoa. Before I put the cover back in place, and I will start this up and check the switch to make sure it works. If it's got a problem, I don't want to put it all back together and find out. I'm going to actually put the cover on last after I find out it's working. Got everything hooked back up before I put my cover and everything else back on. Just going to start it up here. Working. Got any problem? Much better. It actually works. Alright. Now we're just going to put it all back together. Well, that's it. This is not a difficult job in the sense that it's just difficult work to do. The hardest part is getting to those connectors. They're just that one small one it's just difficult to get to it. It's not really difficult to actually do it. It's just getting to it is hard. As you can see on the seam, I said in the beginning that I thought somebody else had been in here at one point because there's a hole here for a screw and it's missing a bolt, and so I have a little bit of a gap in my seam, and that's because that bolt's missing. So I will get a bolt, find a bolt, and find the right bolt and actually put it in there. But that's it. Took me probably a little over an hour. Having done it, having seen exactly what needs to be done, you could do it in a shorter time period if you've done it before. But it's definitely doable. It's a doable job. I don't like I said, I don't consider this to be very difficult. Just difficult to get at. I hope it helped you out. If you need to ever do this in the Impala series in the early 2000s, I hope you enjoy the video. If you do, subscribe below. Thanks for watching.